Well, hello, venters. I hope you're having a good day. Let's take a 20-minute walk together. Yay! Guys, I was just watching a video, and they were talking about a kids' party in Stockton, California, where an 8, a 9, a 14, and a 21-year-old lost their lives to gunfire, and 11 others got shot. And they believe it's gangster related, or gang related, I should say. You got to be pretty gangster to shoot up a kids party, right? Real tough guy, right? I think this is awful. I have a feeling that all these people that were involved in the shooting probably have past records. Maybe we need to revisit this. You know, ever since we were little, all of our states already had laws on the boards, right, to handle gunfire and gangs and such. But I think we can all agree the violence has just been taken up 10 notches since those laws were written. Think about it. Back then, it was very rare that you had some child murderer. Now we have children that murder all the time, and they end up coming out when they're still in their 20s from the jail system, and they end up repeating the crimes. I think if you're a gangster, stay in jail till you're willing to denounce the gang. That's what they ought to do. We ought to make it illegal to be a member of a gang, period. And if you don't want to denounce the gang and get out of that life, maybe we maybe we send you out of the country or something. Holy moly. Can't we as a country we probably have thousands of islands that aren't in use. Let's send some of these criminals and horrible people to these islands. My whole life, they've talked about cruel and unusual punishment, right? You don't want anybody to ever have to deal with cruel and unusual punishment. But does anybody else agree with me? It sounds like the good people of this country are having to deal with cruel and unusual punishment, that every time these people do horrible stuff where they're not really being a good member of society, they end up being pushed right back into our communities, and the most innocent amongst us end up paying for it. 8, 9-year-old kids, what the heck did they do to deserve this? Hey, I finally set up my walking pad in my room. It actually goes pretty fast. I think it goes like 3.8 miles per hour at its fastest, which isn't like incredibly fast, but it's definitely fast enough where, you know, you feel like you can get a little bit of a workout. I've only used it 5 minutes here or there. You know how I feel. My thinking is get outside, take in the fresh air, really enjoy the weather, because in Arizona, this is the best time of year weather-wise. Now, I suppose you guys are wondering, Jesse, how have you been doing when it comes to snacking and stuff? I have really been enjoying the last couple of meals because a lot of them were kind of centered around turkey and Thanksgiving. But I was really proud of myself when it came to sweet stuff. Had 1 or 2 pieces, or bites, I should say, not pieces, bites, of some chocolate silk pie on the first vacation. The second one, I don't think I really had anything sweet. And then the third one, I ate like a tiny little piece of, I don't know, it was like a little bite of like something that tasted in between a pie and a piece of candy. It was pretty decent, but I didn't go overboard. That's the key. And if you walk every day, you can actually afford to go overboard every once in a while. I know I'm pretty much talking to the same group of you each and every day, but that's okay. I want you guys to know that I enjoy walking with you. I'm trying to look at our little channel for what it is. It's just a group of people that are walking because, you know, they don't really allow my video to be seen by a lot of people for whatever reason. I've come to grips with it. That's one of those things that I'm actually proud of. You know, sometimes people are just born to be famous, right? Born to be popular. And then there's some others amongst us that were not ever meant to be that. But that doesn't mean that we should just quit. We should always try to do something bigger than just ourselves. And this channel, for me, has really been that. Also, I'm a firm believer in the butterfly effect. What's that, Chachi? Well, Bob, that's where if everything doesn't line up, maybe I don't meet Mandy. If everything doesn't line up, maybe I never become a father. If all things don't line up, maybe I never live in a world where there is a such thing as YouTube. I think all things fall into place for a reason. So if you and your wife want to know a good reason to stay married, just think about all the things that had to fall in place for you guys to meet. If you really want to lose weight and start hitting your goals, think about all the things you're going to have to put in place for that to happen. You can't just eat what you want and think you're going to hit your goal. Am I right? And you can't just not walk and expect to burn calories. You got to have a good plan. Now, I'm a big fan of Kaizen. What the hell is Kaizen, Jesse? It's baby steps. You just ate a ton, you probably gained 5 pounds. Heck, you're eating a piece of pie and drinking Coca-Cola right now. How about tomorrow, we have the last piece of pie, but how about we skip the Coca-Cola? And how about we start drinking water? And if you're not ready for water, how about you go to sweet tea, and then less sweet tea, and then water? There's little step downs that we can all do. I used to say that when I first started my walking channel, I was eating about 2 donuts a day. I decided, hey, for the upcoming week, I'm going to eat 1 donut a day. And by the time next week rolls around, I'm not going to eat any donuts per day. You can give yourself little goals. Remember, the reason you're the weight you are now is because you are the accumulation of everything you've ever done up until this point, including the eating, the lack of exercise, the lack of movement. They say just sitting at your desk for 8 hours a day is like smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. Which is really scary, by the way. If you look at wolves, when we domesticated wolves, they started to get floppy ears. They started to look more happy than menacing. And they started to basically act like adult puppies. Some of them, many of them, even started developing different color coats. You guys have heard this story time and time again. Well, in a weird way, that's what's happening with us as humans. I think we're becoming more and more domesticated, where all of a sudden we're looking like that big overweight dog that I had Thanksgiving with. You guys should have seen the size of this dog. His name was Buddy. He was a white lab, and I'm not joking, he looked like a 200-pound Tubalard. That was the fattest dog I've ever seen. It made him cute and adorable, but it's not so cute and adorable when the dog passes away. Well, we're no different. We're that big, fluffy, Labrador retriever that's overweight. How do we get rid of that? By taking advantage of what we all love doing since we were little, which is getting outside and moving. That's why the walk must go on. So it doesn't matter that we have 1 million people walking with us. The main thing is that when you walk, you're doing something really positive for your future, and it doesn't cost a thing. As a matter of fact, if you live longer and stay healthier during your lifetime, it'll probably save you a lot of money. I've met a lot of people through the years that were like heart surgeons and cardiovascular specialists. A lot of them really believe in daily walks, and they're the type that really practically jog. They walk so fast. You don't have to do that, at least not right off the bat. But you do have to resolve to put one foot in front of the other and start walking. Sean, Mala, Mandy. I wish I could get people to listen to me. Put your shoes on and walk. I'm sure you guys noticed I've been doing a couple reaction videos lately. I used to love doing the reaction videos, and I still do, and I love walking with you guys. But sometimes I feel like nobody wants to walk with me anymore. With that being said, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try to entertain you guys. So my challenge that I'm going to give myself, that I'll think about on my daily walks, is how can I become the most entertaining person in all of YouTube? I know it's a tall order, but you got to have a goal. I'll see you later.